You're listening to the podcast where we talk about life, sports, family, and everything in between. Welcome to Just Talking Out Loud with your hosts, Ron and Terry.
Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Ron.
And I'm Terry.
And we welcome you in. We hope you are having a start of a good week, however you're listening to us. Maybe you're in the car. Maybe you're in the bathroom. A lot of people like to listen to podcasts while they're in the toilet.
That's gross.
Why?
I don't know.
It's the getaway.
I know some people read while they're on the toilet, too.
That's right.
I can't sit on the toilet that much. It hurts me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would get to be...
Hurts my hips and my tailbone.
Yeah, it's not exactly...
It's not like any support.
It's not comfortable.
Yes.
It's not exactly comfortable. Yeah. I've got a couple things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about singles, and they're getting kind of scared off. We'll tell you why. Maybe you're being a little too anxious, to be hooked up. We're going to talk about grandparents, how they get their names. But I don't know if we're going to get to all this because, sometimes things that we do kind of come up, like we did yesterday. We bought a car. We've been talking about, I had ordered a truck, a Ford Maverick, which people have ordered 2 years ago and still haven't gotten it. I called the dealership and they didn't know, really didn't have any
idea when they were coming in.
No. Can you pull that a little bit closer to you?
Yeah, I can.
So Terry and I we've been talking because this is a decision that we both have to make, I think. We talked about communication.
Yeah.
And even though we really didn't want to take the plunge, if you're looking for cars, God bless you, because it's not fun.
It's a bad market right now. It's just everything is high. Your used cars, we've always bought a couple-year-old car, 1 to 2 years old, and we've always gotten a really good deal by doing them that way. And this time, there is no 1 to 2 year old cars that they're going too high.
It used to be, and you just said it, it used to be where there was a difference between you could get a 2-year-old car and not even think about a new car because there was a pretty big gap between the two. But now it's actually become where the used car is more than the new car almost.
Or it's almost the same. Within $1,000 or $2,000, you might as well go for the new car and get the warranty.
Because we were talking, yes. Well, what happened was Terry and I, we have both of our cars. My truck is 14 years old. Terry's car is 10 years old. Now, I know the timing is
not good.
It's not great because inflation and interest rates and stuff. And it's also Terry wants to retire, and she's going to retire. There's no doubt. You're going to do that.
Oh, after yesterday and after.
But my thing is, when we talked about it, we thought, my first thing was, I'm not going to buy the first car that we look at because we've had great luck, though. Don't get me wrong. Everything we've
almost always bought the first.
By the way,
one.
we were going through all the cars that we had. Like we had a Subaru and a Pontiac and a Murata. It was a Mercury. We had a gray.
Mercury.
Mom said, you remember she thought it was the blue one, but the Pontiac was the blue. We had a gray Mercury. So we've had, if you think about all the cars we've had Fords, we've had Dodges, we've had Subarus, Mercurys, Pontiacs.
I loved my little Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I know. Well, we were going to look at Subaru. So here's what happened. So Terry and I decided, let's go at least look because both of our cars are getting up there. We don't know if the truck's going to come or when it's going to come. I still have it on order. I don't have to take it.
Yeah,
it's still
but
there.
You don't want to put tires on your truck, and your truck is...
it's got some issues.
Yeah. So
I was asking some people that had wanted to buy it before at work, thinking that maybe they would think. And as he came out, he's like, yeah, because the rust on the bed is really, really bad.
The rust got really bad lately.
So Terry and I decided yesterday on a whim, let's just go. We went to Chevy first. We go because I really wanted. A lot of people that I've talked to today, the Trailblazers are like, Mana really likes those. And I said, we looked at them. I thought they were a neat looking car. They're a little bit smaller than they used to be very big. They're a little bit smaller, SUV style. And I liked them, and the price was right around $32, $33.
A little bit cheaper.
And we walked all the way to the used cars. Now, they seen us pull in because we pulled in right in front.
Right.
And we looked at some used cars. We looked at a Buick Encore.
Which I wouldn't have mind driving that
smaller.
if someone would have come out.
Nobody
just to
came
try
out.
it. Yes,
And Terry and I
because I wanted to drive like a Buick and a. What was the one we were?
there was a
looking
Buick,
at?
and then the Trailblazer. I
The
wouldn't have mind
Trailblazer.
driving.
I wouldn't have mind driving one of each. Just to compare which one do you like better. Then went and drove a Hyundai and a couple other things,
Right.
and then say, okay, well, we liked this one the best. That was our plan.
If I'm not mistaken, now you tell me if I'm wrong, because I thought there was a 2019 Buick. The Buick was a 2019. I think it was like 30,000. Some it might have been a little bit
30,
more.
32.
Then there was a 2020 Buick Encore. Is that what I think that's the
Yeah.
one. It was around 34.
Yeah.
Okay, and these had miles on them. They had no warranty, as far as I could tell.
Yeah, they were as
is. There was another one I thought we looked at.
I don't
but-
understand how they are ever going to get rid of them.
Oh,
If there's no warranty, but they do say certified.
they do say certified, but
So
that's
what are they certified for?
probably only for 30 days or 90 days, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know.
That's nuts. If I buy a
Right.
car that's only 2 years old and it had a 3-year warranty when it was sold, why don't I have 1 year left on the warranty?
I don't know. If, maybe you do, but it didn't say that on the
No,
sticker.
it didn't.
So we were out there and it was cold. We're up on that hill. The wind was blowing, and they saw us come in. I'm not one to go in. If you want the business, in my opinion,
Come out.
oh, I see, I'll go out, And again, maybe they were busy. I don't know, but it didn't happen. So then Terry and I decided, we were going to go to Hyundai or Honda, whatever. But you wanted to get some lottery tickets, and we're hoping that that's how we pay for the cars.
Oh, yeah, that would be
be
great.
nice. Yeah,
That would be great.
that'd be great. So we get some lottery tickets, and then I end up pulling into the Honda dealer, and the Honda and the Hyundai are right next to each other. It's like it's a little. You go in and you make a quick left to go to Hyundai, but I went straight in for some reason. And Tara and I, we kind of pulled into a parking space, and we saw some cars. I thought,
Started looking.
Well, we didn't really get out of the car, and the guy said, "Can I help you?"
And you said you were looking at the kind of
Something like what we have.
what we had.
We have a
And
Ford Escape.
He goes, oh, well, he had one model to drive.
Yeah.
He said, let me pull it around, let
Right.
you drive it.
Come on in, he said.
And so
So he pulls around a white CRV, which all of our vehicles lately seem to be white.
Yes.
And we really don't have a preference about color.
no,
We just don't want it to be god ugly, which I guess makes it a preference for
my
color.
mom's little green thing.
Yeah, it's really not.
Although I didn't think I'd like it, and driving it, the window is square. It's easy to see out the back.
That is a
like
Kia.
It's easier, yeah. It's easier to see out the back, like
because of the squareness?
than your Aveo was.
Well, Terry has not driven this CRV. I ended up in the driver's seat, which I really wish you would have driven, but that's okay. I got in the driver's seat. And as we're sitting in the car,
Well, from what we've been driving, anything is going to be a step up because ours are 7. They're 10 and 14 years old, and your Ranger never really drove nice anyhow. It doesn't have good.
no, it's a truck.
It's a truck,
It's
and
a
it's a
pure-
work truck. It's a
and-
pure work truck, basic.
Yeah,
and
and
we
I've got-
bought it just to get Zachary through college, more or
Correct.
less.
He took the Aveo, which, that was our only other new car, and that's more of a go-kart than a car. I mean, it really, it was
he
a car.
said when he would drive it home from Penn State that if it was windy, that
Yeah.
he'd go hit 51 and he could feel it brushing him off the road. I mean, he was afraid to drive sometimes, and then he
Yeah.
had that dog puking on his lap all the way home too.
From day one of the Aveo, it always felt like the front end was going to, because I heard this noise, it felt like the front end was falling
yeah, there
off.
was something wrong in the front
They
end.
never,
of that.
whenever you take it in, now we can't find anything. Anyway, so that's the only other car we've ever bought brand new, and that was because of the what was that Obama thing where you get
Yes.
$4,000
For
or
no
whatever.
matter what, and we were putting the wires together on your
Eagle.
Eagle.
Yeah, we had to put wires.
I loved that Eagle.
Eagle was great.
And we traded it for that junk.
Well, in its defense, it did get us through.
Oh yeah, I mean,
All the cars, and my point is, even though we said we were going to go in and not buy the very first thing we drive, in our defense, everything, what we have bought, we've been very, very fortunate.
oh yeah, almost all of them have lasted us 10 years or longer.
I think that was the point the salesman was trying to, because he was asking us about our cars, and we were saying, well, the truck we've had since 2014, 2014, I think we decided.
Yeah, we haven't had that quite 10 years,
15?
but we bought it
2015.
5 years old.
Yeah.
And we bought it just as a work vehicle for you, just so that
And
I wouldn't have to drive 6 hours
and I
every
got my
weekend
money's
to go
worth. Every
get
car we've had,
Zach.
we've got our money's worth out of, I think. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, we were at the Honda dealer, and the guy's really nice. And as Terry and I are sitting in the car talking, he's getting the plate and doing all that stuff. And I can feel the heated seats. You couldn't really feel it at first because you had that big, heavy jacket on.
I had a big parka on.
Yeah, you had a parka on. And we're looking in this car. Now, of course, like Terry says, our cars are so much different than they are today. Like, we don't have the push button start.
We don't have
this
a
giant
backup
screen.
camera.
Yes.
We don't have a GPS that comes up on our cars.
No.
Our cars are old. They're all the last models that didn't have all that.
Correct. Right before they started the
Yeah,
2014, 15, 16s, you know.
And they were new to us. And I only had like a $250 payment on the Escort.
The Escape.
Escape,
Yeah.
yeah. On the
I
Escape,
think-
I only had I had a very low payment.
Very.
I had it for quite a few years, but it was a low payment. So it was like,
And that car, and we still have it because I'm going to take that car. But anyway, so we get in and he comes in. But as we're sitting there, we're looking at this car, and it's, you know, you look at all the features and you're like, wow, these things have there's a lot to take in. But as he gets in the car, he says, we have a step down. So our thought was going in, we're going to take like one step below
down.
what this car was. This car
and
was
that'll save us $4,000 or $5,000 or more.
So we thought.
Yeah.
So we get in, and this is the CRV. I forget his I don't have the card, but it's like it's a step up. It has everything.
Yeah.
Heated seats, steering wheel, you name it.
Yeah,
it's
because
got
when
it.
I got out, my butt was wet from sweating, and I didn't.
This-
have
by the way,
control panel.
some
obviously.
of the earlier or some of the like lower models don't have the GPS like this one does. So we take it for a ride, and the more I'm driving the car, the more I really like it. I was thinking this is going to be a rough ride. It's going to be, noisy. And as we're driving, and he's talking and telling us, okay, so you want to do one step down, it's not going to have
this, that.
this,
and
this,
then
and that. And
he's
I
telling
couldn't
us
remember.
the luxuries.
And I'm trying to
One of them was the heated seats
I
that we
think.
were sitting on right now.
Right. So and we're okay with that depending on the price. Anyway, so we drive it, and then as we're driving, a friend of mine had called the salesman that had driven a truck earlier in the day at the same dealership. He calls while we're taking a test drive, and
it rings in.
Yeah, it rings, and we're listening
right
to Matt, and he
into
wants the VIN number of the truck, and I was like, okay, so that happened. And then, unfortunately, or fortunately or unfortunately, it was bad news, sort of. My son calls and says,
They're on their way to
Finn's
the hospital.
going back to the ER. My grandson has had croup, and he was in there over the weekend, and he went back again, and he's feeling better. He's doing
Finally,
better. Yeah.
thank you.
So the salesman's like, you know what? Obviously, you have a lot on your plate here, and we're getting ready to head back. He even tells me to take my hands off the wheel as we're driving on the highway. He says, take your hands off the wheel, and I'm obviously a little hesitant, and the car straightens itself out.
It stays in your lane when we were merging on the ramp.
Well, no, I was already on,
Okay.
and I took it off, and I was going 79 Pittsburgh, yeah. So anyway, the more we're driving it, the more I'm like, well, this is kind of nice. Well, it is nice. It's a nice car.
And he was telling us all the safety features it had, like if you're driving.
Lane assist.
When we go, the lane assist, that would come in real handy when we're driving.
Absolutely.
On vacation, and, especially when you're going through Norfolk and there's cars everywhere. Can I get over,
I think both of us of the CRV, if you guys are looking for a car, now again, I've never owned a Honda. This is the very first time. We don't have it yet. But to you, it seemed very roomy to you?
Yeah, almost too roomy because we kind of downsized to my Escape.
Yeah, we went
from a Silhouette to the
we did go
Escape.
from the van, yeah.
From the Silhouette to the Escape. And our Silhouette also had extra room. It was an XL or something. It had extra room in the back end. Of course, we still had kids at home, so that extra room came in handy when we went on vacation and stuff. But then we were thinking, okay, we only have one kid left. We got the Escape. We figured we should be able to fit everything in there. But
I just think that Well, we pulled up after. So anyway, we talk, and we didn't buy it at that moment. He said, "Well, let me write down some things." Well, what happened was, we get out, we get to the dealership, and he writes some things down on the back of his card, and then he goes over and he says, "If you want to step down, this is what it would cost." But he said, "I didn't know this, but apparently someone had canceled."
And he has
an
2
order.
coming in this week that were supposed to already be here.
Right, and he said one canceled this Blue Canyon River.
Yeah.
No, Canyon River Blue. It's a brand new color. And he says, we're going to have this week or next week, whatever. And he'll give it to us at 22 prices because it was on a previous, it's a 23, but, so
it was on a pre-order or something and they canceled.
So it turned out that the price was like, okay. So then Terry looks at me and I'm really surprised because Terry's the one that's, you're the money person. Okay. You're the money person, but you're like, you know what? If we're going to do this, let's do it. Because there was only like a $2,000 difference between what we wanted. It would take about a month or two to get, or what we just drove in. And that's what this blue Canyon River Blue was, the top of the CRV line. But we didn't buy it. So we're on our way home and we're talking and we're saying, what do we want to do? And you're like, why don't you just take your truck? You're on the phone trying to find about Fenn and all that stuff for my grandson. And you're like, why don't you just take your truck up and see what they give you? And he said he didn't want to insult you, but he said, we'll give you $700. And I said, if it's over $200, I'm a happy camper. But so we ended up talking about what we're going to put down on it and then I think the more I thought about it, and the more I was up all night.
Were you?
I was up all night, and then I see this.
It says like a baby.
I know. Well, not really. You didn't go to sleep till later because of Fenn.
Yeah,
we were still getting texts.
Oh yeah, and every time you fell asleep, a phone would go ding. We're at the hospital. Ding. They took him right back. Ding.
Yeah. So here's what I read right today. This is what it says: buying a new car is so pleasurable. Now, here's the thing for me. I tossed and turned pretty much all night. I kept thinking, well, besides Fenn, that was on my mind too, but thinking, what have we done? But at the same time, I kept thinking, well, it's better to get something that we kind of like. We do like this car.
Oh, I think it'll be great on vacation. When he opened the back of that, it has lots of room.
A lot of room. The ride is nice. And my thought was, what if one day, God forbid, we get stuck, right? We don't have and my truck just decides it's 14 years old. So I'm done. Heater's done because the heater's starting to make some smelly noises. Then you have to get something. Right. And sometimes you get something. And the used stuff.
What are you going to get? A 5-7-year-old truck again?
It's more, yeah. And it might be more money than what we just found. That was actually.
Well, it would probably be less money, but it wouldn't have any, any extras, and it would,
But it says here that what's more pleasurable than buying a new car? And it says not much. A study has found that buying a car is so pleasurable than buying a new house, new technology, or even starting a new relationship. And I just don't buy that because, well, a car, even a house, that's a big purchase too.
A house is a big purchase.
That's a payment that it's not 5 years, it's 15 or 30,
Or 50.
Or 50 for some. Yeah,
if them are a lot more.
These houses are $200,000-$400,000. Technology, but buying a car, I wouldn't say it was pleasurable, but we don't have it.
So we're not driving it yet, so maybe it would be.
And once I hand him the payment that we're going to put down on it, I'll probably be crying. Don't mind the tears. It's a lot of hard work that we put in.
We've been putting this away.
For retirement. We're putting towards a car, but once we get the car, we'll talk about how we like it. It's going to be new because there's so many. You've got this giant screen and it's a push button start. You people that already have new cars, we're way
behind.
We're 57 years old, and this is basically our first luxury car, if you will. And it's CRV. I don't know if it's even luxury.
Well,
it's not a Cadillac.
Your Eagle was a luxury car in its day.
Yeah, but it had 60,000 miles on it at that time because I got it from my dad. But yeah, buying a car I wouldn't say is. I guess it's exciting for a young kid, but for somebody that's older and getting ready for that next phase, even though cars are a huge part of our life, they are. They get us to and from. You're going to be babysitting. I wanted something that you felt comfortable in. Not that the Escape wasn't.
That's the only thing. It's wider, and I'm afraid of parking it at their house.
At their house? It's
What
not
if
longer.
What if
we measured the length because we
but
parked.
it looks like it's longer.
It's not.
It just seems bigger.
Yeah, it's not. But I think she's got to drive. Once she drives it, we're going to do that this week, hopefully.
And once I park it by the garage and I'm not hanging out on the street, I'll feel better.
Oh, man. So anyway, that's our story about buying a car. But, our whole thing was always been, and it might sound strange to some people, but I always felt like God has a plan. And it always seemed like when we bought the Escape, this gentleman came out. We never went in. He came out.
We were looking at that because it was such a good deal.
It was a good deal.
And he said, "Do you want to drive it?" And we drove it, and we're like, "Oh, we like it." And
he was a really nice guy. And I forget I want to say Richard, but I don't think that's his name. He used to send you birthday cards.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
you
always.
Probably can't believe we're still driving that.
That's probably true. I thought about that.
Because most people drive it a few years and trade it in. Yeah, maybe.
4 years tops. A lot of people do the 4 years and then trade in because, a friend of mine said, her and her husband, they constantly, they always had a car payment. See, we've not had a car payment for over 10 years. Right?
Well, I had it
almost
for
9
when
years.
We bought, yeah.
Well, that's not true.
No, because I just paid the Escape off.
2 years.
But it was like the payment was like $250, so it didn't seem like a payment.
It wasn't
because it was so low.
Well, because at that time we could buy a car for $18,000, and now that car, if that car is only 1 year old, so we moved that to now, right, 1 year old. That car would be almost double what we paid in 2015 or 14 when we got it. 14, because it's 2013. We bought it in 2014. It had 17,000 miles on it. It was practically new.
Yeah.
It really was. It was a year old.
It didn't have 20,000 miles. And
so the idea of, if you're looking to buy a car, you can look at used stuff, but I got to be honest with you. It's not the same as it used to be 5 years ago, I'll say, where prices seem to be
competitive.
Yeah, now it almost
go 2 years old, it was worth it and they were given better interest rates then too.
Yeah, that's the other thing is the interest rate did not help us because even if we wanted to go outside the dealership, they wanted 6.9. They were giving us 4.9. And
I think that's way too much.
Yeah, but that's what it is.
I know.
And it's going to be more if you go to credit union. It was 6 something. The bank was almost 6.9. So what do you do?
That's why Zachary's probably stuck with his car
it's
in
3.
our name because
he's 3%.
He's got it. Yeah, I think he's under that. I think
he
it was
is
2 point something.
Yeah.
So there's no way we can refinance it for him and put it in his name because his payment's going to go up no matter what now.
I just it's not something I dreaded going because that what it's like when you look at prices, especially today. But I think in the long run, like I said, it's the first time we've ever owned a Honda. We had a Subaru. We were going to look at Toyotas, but this car made it for me. I wish you'd have drove it, but maybe this week we can go back. And he said you can drive it. If you don't like it, well, who knows? Who knows what'll happen? If it's not here yet anyway, so anything can happen. Okay, so that's enough about our experience of buying a car. We're 57 years old. You'd think we've never bought a car before. We have bought cars before. It's just not quite. Price-wise, this is higher than we've ever bought.
We've always stayed within our budget.
It's still a budget thing, I think. I still think we can do it.
Oh, we can. We're in better shape than we were when we were younger, but it's just, I don't want to cut us short.
Well, here's the thing. So, regardless
I'd rather the kids move next door than I don't need a
Well,
vehicle.
but it doesn't matter because you're still going to need a car at some point anyway, and the cars are not cheap. So you'll be lucky if you get a car payment under $350. Lucky. And that's even a used car today with the interest rates.
Oh, well, the interest
unless you can go in and pay cash and you don't have a payment.
Yeah.
Well,
We could
probably could have done that, but then that takes away from the retirement
you don't
that we've
want to
built
look
up.
at the little,
and I'm not doing that.
You don't want to look at the little economical.
That little piece. No, there's no way I'm buying another Aveo. I'm not doing it. Maybe I'll do that for down the road when I'm just driving to my third job as a Walmart greeter. Then maybe I'll think about it. Maybe not even then either. All right. Before we go to break, because we've talked about our car the entire time, but that's just me. I don't think Terry cares. She would drive the Aveo.
I would.
And to me, it was like driving a go-kart.
I would drive it just because it would be economical.
Not necessarily.
To go watch Finn.
Not necessarily. I don't know. Maybe not. It just depends. I don't know. It just seemed like we were putting tires on it all the time.
Yeah.
It was those little tires. I mean, it just seemed like that's all we did. But anyway, okay. This is a story before we go to break, and this is a great one. The diarrhea detector. Now, I don't know if you'd need to know, I think you would know if you had diarrhea.
Oh, I would think so.
A team at Georgia Tech came up with a device that you strap to your toilet, and it can diagnose health issues by listening to your bowel movements.
That's so gross.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Because some of these people, let me tell you something. Yeah. Some of these people make noises that come out of these bathrooms. My heart drops because it's like, I mean, they're grunting, they're hurting. I don't know what's going on in there. I got to get in and pee and get out. It's called a diarrhea detector, and it uses AI to analyze the sounds happening inside your poor toilet bowl. And ain't that the truth? Your toilet bowl is getting destroyed. There's a red light that clicks on if it detects something irregular. It also records audio of your excretion. So you can always listen back if you really want to see what it sounded like. Have it at parties. This is a great thing to take to your party. Hey, listen to what I did the other day. You know what I mean? It can be turned into data and tracked. They found that a healthy bowel movement usually makes a singular tone. This is
a plop.
Yeah. And then, while diarrhea is more random. No kidding. Diarrhea is random. Yeah, if you got something going on. For now, they want to use it in areas with lots of cholera, so doctors can know early if there's an outbreak. But someday they think that the algorithm could be used in things like Alexa devices, so you could monitor your own health. Alexa, can you monitor my bowel movement?
That's gross.
That's something else she can do while she's listening to our conversations.
Yes, which we know she is, especially, and our phones are too, because we've discussed this before. Like, we talked about a doghouse, and then all of a sudden that doghouse comes up for advertisement on my phone. Like, you tell me they aren't listening to us.
There's going to be a car, next time we play on our phone, there'll be car advertisements.
That's because
we've talked
about a car.
Even though we're not on our phone looking at the car, but I guarantee you that'll be so we'll have to check that.
Okay.
We'll have to keep a record of that. Okay. So the diarrhea detector. I don't think it's out quite yet, but if you really want to, I guess if you wanted to, you could record on your phone. If you wanted to get the noises from your bathroom, if you were looking for a party favor.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm not really. I just like how they say diarrhea is random. Yeah, you're not kidding.
You eat something bad, you get it.
Oh man, it's not fun. The diarrhea. All right, so that finishes up our first half of the show. We come back, we'll talk about singles. They're being spooked, and there's some reasons why they're kind of being scared off their first dates. We'll talk about that. And I don't know what else we'll get to. We might get to some top movies turning 20 in 2023. Some of these movies might not have thought they're 20 years old already, but they are. And we'll just kind of wing it from there, because I didn't sleep last night, so I'm probably going right to bed after we're done with this podcast, because I am beat.
That's fine.
But who knows? I might not be able to sleep tonight either, still thinking about all this stuff we got to do. So when we come back, we'll talk about, if you're single, you might be getting scared off. And if you're dating this person, don't do these things. That's next. So you want to start a podcast, maybe you're listening to the show today and you're thinking to yourself, boy, that would be fun, and I have a lot of things I want to talk about. Maybe today is the day. Maybe you're looking for a new marketing channel, or you have a message that you'd like to share with the world, or you just think it would be fun to have a talk show. And it is a lot of fun, just talking to your friends. Maybe you have ideas about sports, life, or whatever your passion is. Today's the day. Podcasting is easy, it's inexpensive, and it's a fun way to expand your reach online. And where should you go? Buzzsprout. It's hands down the easiest, and it's the best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. And your show, believe it or not, can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories in minutes, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, and you wouldn't believe how many more there are. And they make it simple to join all of them. Podcasting is not hard when you have the right partners, and Buzzsprout is the team to join. They are passionate about your success. You can join over 1,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout. We're one of them. We've been on Buzzsprout from the beginning, and I'm so glad I joined up. I had a little bit of an issue, emailed a customer service rep, and they got back to me within 5 minutes, and they had me calm down. It wasn't that hard, and what I was doing was my fault. So here's all you got to do. Click on the link in the show notes. It tells Buzzsprout we sent you. You can support our show, and if you get a paid plan, you get a $20 gift certificate from Amazon. Now, here's some other things that Buzzsprout provides. Like, you get a great-looking podcast website. Now, a lot of people think, oh, I got to get a website, got to pay for that. No, you don't. They provide it for you. Also, they have audio players. Maybe you have a website, and all you want to do is promote your show on your own website. You can do that with their audio players, and you can also drop it into other websites and on Facebook or Twitter, and they help you do it all. Believe me, Buzzsprout is the way to go. They've helped me immensely, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. So maybe today is a day for you to start your podcast. And if you do, check out the link below in the show notes and get a $20 Amazon gift card. Welcome back to the second part of our show. We really are glad that you do take time out and listen. We spouted off for about 20-some minutes just about our car experience. I wonder how many people said, oh, God, all right, enough are the cars. You don't like buying cars. I don't. That's why I have a truck that's 14 years old.
I don't like
and you've got a car that's 10.
That's a lot of money.
I think that's the biggest thing is
you want to make sure you get something that you're going to be happy with.
Well, and as we said earlier, we're at that point of our life where we really want to scale down and try to retire if we can. I don't know.
And then we bought a bigger car.
It's not a bigger car. It really is not a bigger car. It's not. You're talking about a half-inch.
But if we have more grandkids, it's going to come in handy.
That's right. Because someone told me today they think that once Zach gets married, that's where the 2 or 3 kids are going to come in. So who knows?
We'll see. They say they want them, but they're not in any hurry to get married at all.
No, doesn't seem like. Well, that's fine. They're still new in this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, they met. I always said that Zach would have to find somebody. It would have to. This person would have to fall in his lap, and it basically pretty much that's how it happened. You know, see how they met at the school. So if you're single, they did this. The dating group, dating.com, did a survey, and from some of the 30 online dating sites, and in this survey. They were trying to find out what's spooking singles after a first date. And then they shared some top tips to avoid first date scaries. 67% of singles were haunted by these dating don'ts. They also admitted to ghosting their new match altogether. So once they had the date, then they just kind of
fell off.
The person would say, hey, how's it going? And then they didn't respond at all.
It's like, okay, I'm done with you.
So here are some fun. They say the first date is a way to start to get to know someone, and that's true. If you don't really know this person, you want to know, you should be able to have a discussion and let both parties, right? Although some people are better listeners than they are talkers.
We started getting to know each other at our workplace.
Yeah, we cozied up in the cash register area.
Mm-hmm.
We were just rubbing our cheeks together.
You would just
butt
pack,
cheeks.
For me, and we would, oh, well, what you up to, and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, that wasn't a date. Our first date was Dairy Queen. And that really wasn't a date. Because we just went, I think, or was it
You took me for a ride in your dad's new car.
the Murata?
Mm-hmm.
I bought a Murata, Dodge Murata. Boy, that was a nice car.
Mm-hmm. And
I like
you
that
took
car.
me for a ride in it.
That doesn't sound right. I took you for a ride in it, baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we talked. We had some ice cream. Terry did a tonsillitis on me with her tongue.
I did not.
Yeah, you pretty much taught me how to kiss. You were pretty good with your tongue.
You're so sick.
I don't know if I can continue with the show right now. I might have to stop. All right, so so here's some key findings if you're single. Be careful with your tongue, I guess. Be number one. Here's some things that are scaring people off. Too much, too soon. So some respondents reported that they were scared off by a first date because that person asked them if they were ready to commit to a new relationship. Now that's pretty bold for, the first time.
That wouldn't bother me. I would say yes if it's the right relationship.
Well, I'm just saying, though, don't you think it's a little early to say commit?
Yeah, because you want to date someone for a while before you decide that they're the only one you're going to date.
I mean, it's date one. This is the date to get to know that person. You're not going to commit.
It depends on how long you've known them and stuff like that. Because if you grew up with someone across the street, you kind of already know them. You know what I mean?
Well, that's different.
It's different than if you just met someone and
If you're going on an online dating service, then obviously that's
it's the first time you met. Yeah.
You may have been in some contact, but probably more texting, maybe an email, or very informal. So maybe too much too soon. That's scaring people off. Rudeness is a red flag. While on the first date, one of the most important things people notice is how their date interacts with others. In fact, 47% reported they did not ask for a second date because, hold on, I have to turn my page. It quit on me. They noticed that their match was rude to someone they encountered during the first date, like a waiter or a bartender. So if this person was rude, I would assume that would turn me off.
Oh, it would turn me off.
If this person...
Well, because if they're rude to just Joe Schmo on the street, then how are they going to treat you when they get very comfortable with you?
That's a good point.
I mean,
that
because
honeymoon period?
If you think about it, the people that we take the most advantage of are the people that are closest to us.
Yes. Yeah.
So once it gets comfortable with you, he's gonna be rude all the time. Hey, get that for me.
Yeah, if they're rude to a person they don't even know that's trying to wait on them, then they're gonna probably put that on you too. It's a good point.
Not right away, but eventually.
Eventually, yeah. The honeymoon period lasts quite a long time. Well, not a long time, but how long is the honeymoon period?
I don't know.
Is it a month?
With the foster kids,
2 months?
2 months.
2 months. For singles, if the one thing that they're getting scared off is you need to put down your phone. 76%.
Oh yeah, I mean,
said they would not
friends
pursue
of ours that have come over and sat at the kitchen table and been on their phones the whole time.
Would not
and I'm
pursue
that's rude.
a relationship with someone who was checking their phone throughout the first date. So if you're on a date, put down your phone.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's something going on in your family. I mean,
yeah, if there's but again, you probably could do an hour without checking your phone.
Oh
on
yeah,
a date.
and yesterday, the only reason I answered because it was RJ and we knew that Ben had been sick. There's times that I don't answer my phone when we're out and about doing things. You know what I mean? I call them back as soon as I have a minute. But when I saw that it was RJ and I had watched Ben and he was not breathing well when I watched him, so I answered the phone and I was like, oh no. And
well, people can't put their phones down even when they're driving. They have to be on their phone 24/7.
Oh, I know people text while they're driving and everything, and
it's
that's
ridiculous.
I mean, my phone is usually in my purse while I'm driving, and if it rings and my steering wheel doesn't answer it right away, then it waits till I get where I'm going, and then I look, and if it's say mom or something that I think is important, then I call them back.
Some other things that are scaring singles off: can't get a word in edgewise. 34% said they claim that they had their first date ruined due to not being able to contribute to the conversation because their date talked about themselves the entire time.
Yeah, that's a big red flag.
I mean, if they're not
If they're
saying,
telling you something, what kind of music do you like?
Yes,
and then you share what kind you
right.
like. Then if it's not a give and take and it's all him, I like this,
or her,
and they sometimes think too highly of themselves, like I'm a great basketball player and I'm a great this and I'm great that. Well, then okay, bye, see ya. Go live with yourself.
You're not gonna. Well, yeah, you're not gonna learn anything from the other person if you're just talking about yourself the whole time. Leave the past behind. 41% surveyed said that their date was tainted by their match talking too much about their ex-partners. Probably still fresh, right? Broke up, and they're still talking about it even during this new date. Probably a big turnoff, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so.
Being late. Always arrive on time to your date to set off things at a good start. Singles said that they would not go to another date with someone who showed up late to their first meetup. Now, of course, I guess if you're able to contact, say, I'm running late or traffic, but if you're,
or something happened that you are late, you actually know
something, something's come up or whatever. Focus on your date. A lot of respondents have caught their dates checking out other people in the room, which is a clear deal breaker. 88% of singles think the first date is too soon to talk about your ex, and that's probably true. Noting this typically signals they haven't moved on. So if it's a fresh breakup, you might want to give that first date a little more time.
Give it a couple months.
So here's some tips. Stay in the moment. Make sure you're completely present on the first date. Again, I would think communicating with each other, asking each other questions, trying to bounce, trying to find things out without really digging too deep. Remind yourself not to be preoccupied with work or other stressors. Don't be distracted. Stop worrying about your potential future with the date too soon. In other words, people would probably think, well, this is the one I'm going to be with. It's too soon for that. Speak and listen. I think we've talked about that already. Be yourself. Well, I don't know who else you're going to be. I hope you're not going to be somebody else.
I don't know. Some people, depending on who they're dating, they want kids. They don't want kids. Last person they dated, they didn't want any kids. Now all of a sudden they want a whole big family. Is that just because he wants it or she wants it? The opposite one wants it, so they're like, "Oh, okay, I will do it."
But I do think that's. Excuse me.
Do they tell them what they want to hear? You know what I mean? I don't want someone who wants to tell me what I want to hear.
No, you want them to
honesty.
Say, if you don't want to have kids, get it out right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it seems strange to talk about it maybe on the first date.
Maybe not on the first date, but within the second month
it'd be tough
dating,
to say, I want to have kids, and this is the first date.
Yeah, but if you're not on the same page and they're not even open to, you want a family someday, and they don't ever want a family, and that is going to be a flaw in your relationship. Just be friends,
Yeah, yeah. And finally, it says just have fun. They basically said, your first date shouldn't be stressed. You should be exciting and fun, get to know each other, do something. I don't know where dates go anymore. I'm 57 years old. I haven't been on a date for.
I know. We've been trying to make one for a long time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but this, our dates are, whatever. Yeah, dates. Well, what do you want to do?
But we very rarely go out together alone. Because usually,
well, I know. Lately.
My mom's alone, so when we're going out, I ask her if she wants to go. Before that, when Zachary was here, he would go with us. We don't really go out alone.
Well, what do
we
we-
double dated a couple times.
Yeah, but we don't. I mean, I don't know. What are we gonna do? Bowl? I don't want to bowl. I mean, is that considered a date? I like going to dinner with you, but
no,
we don't.
but dinner.
We don't do that by
dinner
ourselves
together
anymore.
alone, but we don't do it very often. Well,
So-
we do every once in a while.
Well, we're
but-
going to. I'm going to make. Well, I was going to make an appointment or reservation. I won this
dinner.
dinner, and it's a very expensive place. I don't think you have to like dress up or anything. I don't think it's that,
Well,
but it is pricey. And I wanted to. I was going to
Then
think
I'll
about doing
probably
it Friday,
dress
but
up.
now I'm
I'll
babysitting.
wear a pair of heels for you.
Okay,
babe.
well then maybe I'll wait till spring and we'll do it.
Oh, I can wear heels.
If it's snowing, who knows? Wintertime. But I want to do that. I was going to do it Friday, but I'm babysitting. How did grandparents get their nicknames? How did you, when you, do you remember how like you called your my grandparents were always Nana and Papa. And then this is going to sound really bad, but then we had distinctions as to which was which. You know where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm, because I thought Big Nana was Little Nana and Little Nana was Big Nana.
Yeah, it's
for
really.
years. And I was always confused.
Yeah, that's really
and,
weird.
And see, in your family, they were both Frank.
Yes.
Was the last name.
Yes.
So they couldn't say we're going to Nana Frank because they were both Nana Frank. And they would say Little Nana, and I would think we were going to Mickey's house.
But that was right.
No, yeah.
That's right.
That was me. No, I would think we were going to Mary's house
Right.
because she was smaller than Mickey then. You'd say Little Nana, and I would think, and then
No, that's
you
not
would
true.
go to.
Back in the day,
I
my
know, but when
mom's
I
mom-
got,
well, yeah, when you met her, she was a lot smaller, but
and she was very
she was
thin.
very, yeah. You've seen pictures of my,
Yeah,
grandmother.
but when I met them, Little Nana was bigger, and Bigger
Little.
Nana was littler.
right. It's true that by that time, they have gotten older, and one got smaller and one
Got bigger.
got but not taller.
Yeah.
I think we were going by height and not so much weight. I think as kids, but I don't even know how that
Mary
came
must
up.
have shrank too.
Yes. I don't know exactly how that all came up, but and I don't remember like anybody telling me. It's like
Finally, I would say, are you going to your mom's or your dad's?
because we say Fen, well, my son called my mom Pa and Pockle.
Which he made that up.
He made that
himself.
up on his own. I mean, eventually he called her grandma, but for some reason she was Pockle because Pa and then
Because
Pockle.
he learned to
Makes
say
sense.
Pa first, and
Yeah.
then he said Pockle.
So we're trying to say Pa for me, and I don't know what I don't think you want to be called Pockle. He's not going to do that.
He called me yesterday.
Nana.
Nana.
He did say Nana.
Nana.
And
Which is fine. Nana.
he will not say
Pa.
Pa. He just won't do it.
He's done it once or twice.
I'm not even. Yeah, I think he just does it to.
He laughs.
Yeah, he
though.
laughs because he knows.
laughs.
Because then he says "mama," and I said, "I'm not the mama," and he laughs. I don't know why he thinks I'm the mama.
He says the mama.
Then he
and
says "dada."
Then the one time we got to the restaurant, and he did say, "You said, who am I? Who am I?" And he went, and he grinned, and he said, "Pa."
Yeah, I don't know if he really. I don't know if he's. Who knows what he said. But I don't. I just wonder how did you come up with your? There's Meemaws. There's
Yeah.
Nanas and Pop-Ups. There's
See,
Grandma,
mine was
Grandpa.
Grandma and
there's-
Grandpa. I don't remember
Yeah, I don't
calling
know.
them, and
What'd you
I
call your?
remember
Oh,
them,
you didn't
Grandma
have.
and Grandpa.
That's what. Yeah, you're
I had
Your mom-
one set of grandparents
Yeah.
right in town.
Right.
Growing up, the whole time I grew up in Michigan.
right.
And my grandma was like my best friend. I mean, I loved living so close to her. Whenever everyone was doing something, I was at her house. Like if I was, like they all started bowling leagues, and I must have been too young the first year. So I was at her house. And back then, they left me in bed if they had to be out of the house early. And I woke up and I would dial her phone number, and she'd come over and got me, and we would go clean apartments or whatever. And then we would go play cards until they got home.
Yeah.
And they would stop at her house, and it was just known they'd stop at her house to get me on the way home, that I wouldn't be home alone still.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember calling them Nana and Papa. How they got their name, I don't know if that's an Italian thing.
Yeah, I think Nana
Nana
and Papa
Papa.
are Italian.
So yeah, how did your grandparents get their name, and were they still? A lot of people didn't have their grandparents, unfortunately.
Our
out there.
kids
My kids were very lucky. Yeah, very
They
blessed.
had 2 sets of grandparents.
And great-grandparents.
And 2 sets of great-grandparents. And they had a 3rd set of great-grandparents.
Zachary didn't.
Yeah, the
Well,
third. I mean, and
not all of them.
RJ met my grandparents down in Florida, too.
Yeah.
I remember my grandfather calling him JR instead of RJ. And, hey, JR, come on over here. And he would call him JR all the time, and he would look at him. But then RJ talked early and everything.
He did.
It was.
Yeah, he did. Moving on, movies that are turning 20 this year. That's just feel old now that I see some of these movies that are turning 20. Finding Nemo is 20 years old this year, 2023. Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, and The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, which we've never seen Lord of the Rings. It's turning 20. Bruce Almighty is turning 20 with Jim Carrey. Elf with, I just lost his name, Will Ferrell. Yeah, it's turning 20. Too Fast, Too Furious. Seabiscuit, Freaky Friday, and Catch Me If You Can. It's just Bruce Almighty and Elf, we've seen these movies and turning 20 already. Oh, man. Our son just celebrated a birthday. He's 36. Yeah. 36? Yeah, 36. Right?
I'm pretty
6,
sure 36.
7, 3, 8. Because in 80 and 27, he'd be 40. Wow. Man, do I feel old. Who would you like to get steamy in the tub with? They did a survey.
Myself.
Ooh. I like the thought of that, babe.
I mean, I don't want to be bothered. I want to relax.
53% of guys said they choose their wives or their girlfriends to get steamy in the tub. That says a lot, I think. It's not a star. It's their wives. Now, I don't know if their wives were standing next to them when they took the survey. I don't know. It could be. Not really sure. But that's who I'd want to get steamy with, my wife or my girlfriend. Or both. Whatever happens. Right? Okay. Oh, by the way, we might have to, we'll end it on this. Maybe. We'll see. Do you want to boost your ego? Mm-hmm. Ladies, if you're out there, you're listening, you want to boost your ego. You're looking for an instant ego boost. This will do it. Lingerie. A study found because modern lingerie is designed to complement the bodies of women of all shapes and sizes, just putting on something pretty can boost your mood by up to 40%. And then there's the mood boost your man will get. So all you got to do, and there is something about lingerie that is, when you wear your sexy undies or whatever, there is something to that to boost a man's, and not, does it do anything?
Them,
well, I do. For her, just in case you're wondering, I buy them, but it's for her. But you don't find that, like, if you wear something pretty,
But I just feel that way in just dressing for work and stuff. That's an ego boost. If I go
dressing like you are right now with a sweater.
Well, this wasn't, but like when I dress and when I wear a dress or a nice outfit, a suit, or when I dress for work like a professional,
like you used to,
I don't know. It makes me feel better.
That's what I'm saying. That's
myself.
The boost. That's the ego boost, because something that you feel comfortable. It doesn't have to be lingerie, but if it's a sexy dress or a pretty dress, it doesn't have to be a sexy dress, but it compliments you.
If someone says, "Oh, you look nice today," it's like, okay, I put a little bit of time and they noticed, and it's.
And then Terry will not get rid of that dress because now someone commented. So that was going to be a dress that was going to go in the pile.
No, it wasn't.
And now it's not going in the pile.
No, it's never putting that one in the pile.
I don't know. I thought you said you were putting it in the pile.
No.
You sure?
Because that's when I'll wear Christmas.
But there is something to that, I think. I mean, we should do a study on that. You put on lingerie and I'll tell you how I feel. We'll talk about the first thing that pops up. Okay. We'll know this. This is the season of the most breakups. What season do you think there's the most breakups?
Christmas.
Winter.
Winter.
Well, it's a season, Terry. I'm talking season, not holiday.
Before Christmas, yeah.
Winter. Well, yeah, winter is the season of the most breakups. A survey found 38% of all breakups by singles occur in the dreary months of winter. 15% break up in the spring. 23% break up in the summer. 63% of breakups are initiated by
the women.
Women. Yeah. But it's in the winter. There is something about winter and the winter blahs because I guess you can't really get out and do stuff. Is that what it is? Or is it just this person just isn't my cup of tea? Is that what it is?
If I was stuck all winter with them, I might go insane.
Are you looking at me when you said that?
No,
You looked right in my.
That's what people
right in my eyes. You looked right in my eyes.
People might think that, you know.
No, yeah. I mean, I think it's easy to break up in the wintertime. Huh? You're not going out and about. Usually coming home, it's dark. Gets dark early. You just feel like it's bedtime and it's only 5:30, and it feels like it's 10. But the days are getting longer.
You have to be comfortable with that person, even if you're not having conversation and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I didn't get to a couple of things.
Snuggle up to a TV show or whatever.
So we'll do it for the next time. We'll talk about some of the TV shows that we've been watching that are actually on the favorite list, which is really surprising. We'll do that next time, and maybe we'll talk about resumes and what you should and shouldn't do on your resumes. That'll be it next week.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter at Just Talking Out Loud. Sign up. Make sure you subscribe. You get an alert every Monday for a new episode of Just Talking Out Loud. And you can also contact us at justtalkingoutloud@gmail.com if there's anything you'd like us to talk about. Although I don't check a lot of times. I wish it would be easier like to put it on. We also have a website you can get it all. It's all in the show notes. You'll see the show notes and all of our information. All you do is a click away and you can go to the website. You can go to the Facebook. You can go to Twitter. So it's really simple. So thank you. Next time we talk, maybe we'll have a new car. Maybe we've got cold feet and we didn't do it. We'll let you know. We are out.
Have a blessed week.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show.